What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Roko Bros. This is the Akudama Drive episode 1 review portion of Ed's Corner. So, if you haven't seen the reaction, go ahead and go watch it. I'm about to go ahead and break this thing down. This was a pretty good first episode, right? Like, everything kind of came together. There was enough questions. There was enough action to keep you engaged. The music was amazing. The cinematography, the animation was really, really dope. The color schemes were amazing. I really liked it, and it got me excited for what's going on. There's a lot of questions about the Akudama in general. Like, I guess, are Akudama just people serving like a life sentence or like some type of sentence, and like they work for the government, or are they like, and they're working like this year off in order to do this, or do they have something else that they got to do? It's a lot of really cool questions that they got going on. We only were in Kansai region the entire episode. I know, like, from the thing, from the synopsis, it's supposed to be like Kansai and Kanto. So we really got to see like the major players of the Kansai region in this episode. From my boy Courier, we don't know nobody's names. We don't know nobody's fucking names actually, but they just going about what they do and how much time that they serving. So Courier's my dude. This nigga is on a motorcycle that got missiles and lasers and fucking grappling hooks and shit. This nigga has a Batmobile, but in a motorcycle, and it's fucking dope as hell. And he ain't afraid of no smoke. So he was like, that shit was really dope. And so far, him and Brawler are like my favorite characters right now because, you know, I'm always down with a nigga with some dreads and who can get down and want to fight. Like, that shit's always dope as fuck. They're never gonna go wrong with nothing like that. So both of those two are my favorite characters. I am not really feeling the main girl. She's really, honestly, she give me real Lucy from Fairy Tale vibes. Real, just like, oh, I'm just here as the person who don't know what's going on, so I can get shit explained to me, and my ass is always gonna need to get saved type shit. Hopefully they don't go that way with it. You know, in the situation, like, she kind of got saved, but it's not. It was really like a byproduct. He didn't like move. Courier, that is, didn't move to really like go try to save her per se, even though that was the outcome for it. So maybe, you know, and then, you know, of course he was like, yo, I saved, but I'm not gonna apologize for giving that money or whatever. And I like that. I enjoyed that because like this would have all been avoided for her. Swindler, I guess. We don't know what her real name is, or they did talk about it, but who cares? I don't care. I don't, like, who cares what her name is? She's Swindler, and, you know, maybe her character goes somewhere. So far right now, I'm just like, I'm caring about everybody else that I've seen. The doctor lady, she was crazy. Like, when she's introduced, like, you have to go save a person, and like she knows what's going on. At first, I thought she was like gonna cut him open, like maybe massage his heart or something, but nah, she was killing everybody while stitching this nigga up. So like, you know, she was crazy. Like, so she's gonna be up there as far as characters go, and like I'm excited to see more of what's going on with her. Really, like I like everybody, and I like how they're introduced, especially Cutthroat. This nigga is the craziest of them all because he's killed 1,000 people, 1,000, and he don't show no signs of stopping. In fact, it's really 1,001 at the end of this shit because he blew some nigga's head off. So that nigga's not to be fucked with, obviously. So everything, and it was a really good introduction to kind of get everybody into it. So it seems like Akudama each have a certain type of job or certain type of role that they fulfill. And I don't know if it's for an organization or if it's for the government or what, for whatever reason, each person's function is associated with a whole number of years. One thing that was interesting is probably what we're going to have to learn about Courier is that him and um, and Cutthroat looked like they had the same amount of time on their sentence. It looked like it was both 967 years, which is really interesting because like it seemed like it goes like you get more time the more serious your crimes are, the more serious you got going on. So Brawler had like I think it was like in the 300s, and the doctor was like five something. So the fact that a courier has 967 is the same amount of years or really similar years to somebody who's killed 1,001 people. There's got to be something behind that. There's got to be something like deeper than that. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, because you want to see like like I'm excited to see how that plays out. That shit's gonna be I can't wait. Uh, you know, and so even going more further into the episode, um, you see, uh, so going back from the beginning of the episode, you know, we see Swindler, and she's going through, we're following her life. We see that she's like really interested in cats. Cats are a big theme so far in the show. So I don't know if that I wonder if that's going to continue through the whole thing. Some stuff like with cats, and and it's really it's kind of weird because it seems like everybody's kind of loners. They don't like to be together, and cats are kind of like that too. Like cats are pretty solitary, like for the most part, but sometimes they do move in packs. So I don't know. Like I want to see how that continues, and we see her Swindler, that is, like almost get hit by a car because she want to save a cat. And it seemed like her trying to save these cats gets her into situations where she don't need to be in, where she have no business being. Because the first time she almost got hit by a car, and then the second time she ran into all the Akudama niggas and a big ass giant robot. So, we're gonna see maybe how much that engages, you know, how much how much that plays a role into everything. And we see her actually meet up. We don't know this at the time. Meet up with Courier at the takoyaki stand. And at the takoyaki stand, she like for whatever meal she got, it was 500 yen, and she didn't have any money, any cash. So the dude like dropped it, and she tried to give it back to him. He's like, "Yo, I don't accept that. Drop money is bad luck," and goes about his business. I mean, I wonder what's gonna happen with that, because like it kind of seemed like they're gonna probably, maybe he left it on purpose, maybe knowing that she didn't have no money on her or something, like no cash, and maybe he left it on purpose, and that was intended. He was just probably being a dick, because he was like, "Oh no," just so she could pay for it. But it also shows her character, her strength of character. Even though I mean, like the person say they don't want the money, I'm not. I'm not gonna just like try to seek that person out and insist they take the money. Like I'm not gonna do that shit. But that's what the type of shit that she's on, to show her character. So she could have had a chance to pay in cash with it, but she didn't, and she ended up getting arrested for it. And so we see in this dystopian future that a lot of justice is dispensed by robots, is dispensed by non-humans. So everything's really cut and dry, because it's a computer, it's code, it's electronic signals uploaded to a robot that determines whether somebody is guilty or innocent, which kind of takes the whole human element and human ability to empathize out of the whole equation. So I want to see how that little bit plays out into like a wider thing, because how is the whole world set up, because the fact that justice and sentences can be handed out right there at a counter with no trial, no lawyers, no nothing. It's just a computer, a robot telling you what you did was wrong and how much time you should serve for it. So definitely seems like a very cut and dry future society, where there's no real discernment on the laws or anything like that, or human discernment on the laws. Whoever's in power, they're the ones who upload the code or whatever to the robots, who would then in turn impart that so-called justice on the population of Kansai, from which we know, is kind of put down upon the Kanto region. So I don't know, who really runs the police department in Kansai. Are they working with Kanto? These are things that like we are wondering, and like what we'll be wondering, and what we're gonna see in the future. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they go with it. There seems to be some like kind of cool political themes that's happening there, and I'd like to see how they play upon those. So continuing through the episode, we see this man Courier is like, we see him dropping after he leaves the Takoyaki stand. We see him having to go drop a package off, and we get like a really cool wide city shot of this nigga going grappling hooks through the city, and like on a motorcycle, and driving a motorcycle on windows and shit. Like, this shit was amazing. It gave me a lot of Durarara vibes. Yeah, with and also there's another anime out there. I cannot remember the name, but it was like they like the main character fought with a motorcycle. If y'all can help me out in the comments, man, like, and remember this anime, it was like a demon anime, like they fought demons or some shit like that. And like the main character was like on a motorcycle, and she was like, he or she, I can't remember, but the main character was beating ass with a motorcycle, and this gave me that kind of vibe, because this man was using the motorcycle as just a mode, like an extension of himself, which is really cool to see. You see this big cityscape, and him going through it and traversing this shit. Like he's done this 1,000 times. He's a fucking expert at this shit. Like you see that, and you just jump right, and you're immersed into like, okay, what his job is. And he seems like he goes into no matter what the situation is, he's gonna get the package where it needs to go, and is gonna get it on time, and shit, under budget, all that shit. He gonna get that shit done. Like, he seems like a guy who gets shit done, and no matter the cost, and he has to, because he has over 900 years on his sentence. So you already know this nigga gotta be dope. So we see him drop a package off to somebody. Then we see, after he gets that money, he sees a briefcase on the ground, alerted with his next job. So, and then that brings him, having to go say cutthroat. And we see instances of cutthroat throughout the whole episode. Like at the beginning, you see, they alert you of the cutthroat execution that's gonna happen. And it was a little bit, I didn't know at first that that the names would be assigned later. I thought that, like, maybe cutthroat was just like maybe the name for the criminals that they execute. But it seems like they do this thing often. There's like it's an announcement to the entire city that there's going to be a public execution. So that's another another instance of you're just kind of seeing the political landscape of what's going on. The fact that they got public executions, which is astounding. That's is something that doesn't really happen. Well, and it's something that doesn't really happen as much anymore. But I mean, it's definitely a hallmark of like kind of a reverse in laws and a reverse in like in what's like known as decency when dispensing so-called justice. So we see the states broadcasting them what they do to their enemies. What do they do to people who have subvert the norm and subvert what the people in power have put into place? So we see first a detached, non-human police force and enforcement of laws, and then on the other hand we see the state dispensing justice, so-called justice, on people who break the law, to the point where it's a normal occurrence that they kill people on television for everybody to watch, which is really fucking crazy when you think about it. So it does a really awesome job with just like kind of I mean, they tell you, but it's not like somebody coming and showing you, but you see it in action of what's going on, and you see how popular it is because they were broadcasting it. So that brings us into where, you know, we see, you know, the other players coming to the fold: the hacker, the doctor, the brawler, and the hoodlum. We see them and like all like we see them and they're all introduced, and they all get their cutscenes and like how they act and how they like to move to accomplish their goals. You know, we saw the doctor lady. She was crazy. She was cutting folks up, and like I don't know what was going on. They cut away from it. So, you know, the brawler, he was like clearing the way like the Vanguard and just like knocking all those RoboCops out. And you know, we have the hacker who was first able to hack into a bank just fucking around, and then goes and hacks the police system and takes it over in order to try to accomplish the objective, which is to rescue Cutthroat. Well, that was the objective for everyone else. Wasn't the objective for Courier, which we find out later in the episode. So later in the episode, of course, we find out that Courier was the one that he had a different objective. He actually had something to take to Cutthroat. So that was a nice little twist at the end of the episode. So, you know, everybody's introduced. Everybody's like, you know, brought out into the fold of having to go try to rescue Cutthroat. And they awaken this big ass robot, enforcement robot, and they all try to fight it, and like they all do different things to try to fight it and different and things like that. So that was a really cool. It was a nice little fight scene to get everybody's to get a little bit of everybody's like abilities and like what they can do and like how they work together. And you know, something that was really cool was the fact that they were all brought separately, even though they all were all brought separately to this place, and they're all competing against each other for the money. I thought that maybe they were all called in on the same job, so they would all have to work together. But that didn't seem like the case from from everybody's interactions with each other. So maybe everybody gets, maybe all the Akudama get a job, or and the first person who gets it is the one who gets the money, or like maybe you get known enough to be able to go and you get a reputation, and that reputation precedes you, and then you can get more jobs based on that, based on your reputation, and you can establish some clientele or something like that, maybe like that way too. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I'm interested to see like what happens with that. So moving on, they fight the robot, they beat the robot with a really fucking cool laser blast from Courier's motorcycle. Like that shit was dope. And then of course Swindler getting in the way. She was kind of useful, but running to try to carry the cat, and then like getting into the situation where she was around all the Akudama and she was about to die. I mean, quick thinking on her part to try to fool them, to make them think that she's an Akudama, but yeah, and then nothing really happened there, and or she got in the way. But her getting in the way was able to give Courier enough time to finish the robot off. So, after that, we're introduced to, the police is still like, nah, like, y'all gonna try to come in, we gonna execute them early. And then they came down through the thing, like right when they were about to dispense this so-called justice, and everybody drops in from the ceiling. And like, so after they beat the robot, they're still like, no, we're gonna kill him, but they don't, because Cutthroat kills the bug out of that guy, and or it's just used to him. And then then the twist happens where it was interesting, because the money was actually already paid to Courier. The money was already paid. The money that was supposed to be the prize money, I think, had already got paid to Courier. So he had already gotten the money, but everybody was just drawn there in order to facilitate that. And then you find out that Courier had a different job. Courier had a different job than everybody else. His job was to bring a package to Cutthroat, not to rescue Cutthroat like everyone else. And so when they do get that, is crazy because then this nigga like it's actually a necklace. It's actually like something that goes around your neck that's a bomb, and then he puts it on everybody. So everybody's like, shit, like now they gotta like do what he say or something like that. And this motherfucker's unhinged and crazy because he just happened to get a guy. He got everybody he needed to. He just got another guy and just killed him. It was like, your head's blown off now. Like it was pretty fucked up. But that's I mean, like, he is what his name is. He's cutting throats and he don't care. And so that happened, and we're introducing him, and then it sounded like the cat was the one talking at the end of the episode. The cat was there and saying that everybody was in place, and that's when it cuts, and that's the end of the episode. So all in all, like a really, really good first episode. A lot of questions, a lot of action to keep you entertained, but then really setting the tone for what we can expect to come in this future dystopian type of society type shit. So I'm excited for episode 1. I'm excited about episode 1. I can't wait for episode 2. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode was in the comments, and shoot, man, I can't wait to start this thing. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time,